Hi, Kayla. I'm giving you feedback from Open Body Night via video. I apologize if I'm a little haphazard. I'm sort of reading off of everybody's papers. So thank you first for submitting. That was a bold and brave submission, really exciting to think about, and something that I think you could pull on or continue as you leave here from Plymouth. You have a huge arsenal of movement and ability. Here's what we liked. We loved the Broadway theatrical style. We loved the humor. We loved the commitment of the dancers. We loved the way that you involved a bunch of different genres of dance, but then stayed true to the Broadway or musical theater style. That was really wonderful. We thought your dancers did a nice job working together. Obviously, there's sort of a double layer there of theatricality and dance technique. They did a nice job. Some comments regarding the work itself and why we made the choice not to include it. One of the big reasons was that the patterns and the shapes and the spacing of the choreography was very obvious. A lot of unison, a lot of really all side by side, which for the audience didn't surprise us. So in musical theater, something that I love is, you stated it when you sort of talked about it in the beginning, musical theater is so wonderful because when you can't get any higher in the emotional context, you break out in song and dance, yeah? And so we saw that in the acting, but we didn't see it in terms of the dance patterns and the shapes that the dancers were making. So and to us, that sort of side-by-side unison thing lent itself more towards contemporary or old school jazz or even dance teamish. So we had wanted to see more out of that because we know you work on the stage quite a bit. Lisa wrote a lot about that. Lenore mentioned, and I have to agree with her, that the dancing was not, the technical dancing wasn't as strong as the theatricality, the acting portion. And so what that did was it made sort of, how do I want to say it? It sort of broke our focus, or made the dancing, even though the dancing wasn't sloppy, it made it look kind of sloppy because the acting was so over the top. So in the future, you're going to want to make sure, as you direct dancers and do more musicals, that they're equal parts, right? They're equal parts, particularly in a CDE submission where dance is collaborative, but definitely the focus. We need to make sure that those pieces are just as strong. Lenore also mentioned that there was so much involved in the piece that it needed to be cleaner and clearer in order for us to understand sort of the trajectory, particularly the transitions. The transitions were something that I wrote about. I was sort of unclear, like, okay, how does this work? And, how is this going to fit? So that was something there. One of the things that I wrote about was that I loved the movement. I really loved the tap. That was fantastic. And I see that you're creating a story between the dancers, but I didn't feel like the dancers were believing the story between themselves, if that makes sense. So they were executing it and they were acting it, but it was like they were almost not aware of each other. They weren't feeding off of each other. Maybe that's because they were thinking about the choreography or whatever it was, but I felt like there could have been more connection there. Also, I said in my notes here, I said it's very frontal. Everything is very towards the audience. Not a bad thing, but not necessarily as exciting. If you go and look at some of the new current musicals that are happening right now, they're really pushing the bar of what musical theater, dance, and dance style is. So use your contemporary training to sort of think about how you can shift and shape the stage in new ways. But anyway, thank you so much. I hope you know that we adore you and your work is fantastic. So onward and upward.